Rain lashed against the city, a relentless drumbeat on concrete and glass.
It was 2:13 a.m.
Most of the world was asleep, dreaming in the quiet security of their beds. But in one apartment building, nestled within the sprawling urban grid, sleep was a distant, impossible luxury. A chilling silence had descended, broken only by the rhythmic drumming of the storm, and a sound so faint, so delicate, it barely registered. A whisper. A plea for help, from a place where no one should be alone. The dispatcher, accustomed to the chaos of the night, knew instantly something was terribly, fundamentally wrong. This was not a routine call. This was fear. Raw. Primal. Unfiltered. Before the whispers, before the terror, there was Sarah Miller. A seemingly ordinary young woman, living an unremarkable life in a typical city apartment. Her evening had been like any other: dinner, a movie, preparing for bed. The kind of mundane routine that offers a false sense of security, a comforting illusion that nothing truly dark could ever pierce its veil. The rain had started subtly, then built to a crescendo, mirroring the unseen tension that was about to erupt. She believed she was safe, nestled within her four walls. The city outside, a labyrinth of shadows and secrets, felt distant. But the danger wasn't outside. It was closer than she could ever have imagined. Sound, phone static, rain ambience, distant suspense music. At the 911 dispatch center, the screen flashed. An incoming call. Unusually, no sound registered initially. Then, a voice. Barely audible. 911 audio, whispering, panicked, female voice. Hello? Is anyone there? Dispatcher 911, what is your emergency? 911 audio, whispering, he's here. I think he's in the building. The dispatcher leaned closer, straining to hear. The fear in the caller's voice was palpable, raw. It wasn't just quiet, it was whispering, a deliberate act of concealment, suggesting a threat dangerously close. The implication was immediate: a predator, lurking in the shadows, listening. Every word, a struggle against a suffocating silence. Sound, police radio chatter, distant sirens getting closer. As the dispatcher processed the fragmented information, a cold dread began to set in. This wasn't a standard domestic dispute or a noise complaint. This was an active threat, unfolding in real time. Dispatcher, calm but urgent. Units 3 Alpha 7, 3 Alpha 9, respond to a 10-31, possible home invasion. Caller reports a male subject inside the building. Unknown if armed. Proceed with caution. The call crackled over the police radio, cutting through the late-night quiet. Officers, scattered across the district, immediately rerouted. Adrenaline surged. The race against time had begun, each second a precious commodity. Sound, heavy rain, distant thunder, car doors opening, boots on wet pavement. Minutes later, the first patrol cars sliced through the curtain of rain. Their blue and red lights painted the wet asphalt in frantic, pulsing hues. Officers Markowski and Chan, experienced veterans of the night shift, were first on scene. They moved with practiced efficiency, their body language taut with anticipation. The apartment building loomed, a dark, silent monolith against the stormy sky. No obvious signs of forced entry. No shattered glass. Just the relentless rain, and an unsettling quiet that seemed to swallow all other sounds. The unknown was now tangible, a heavy blanket draped over the scene. Sound, rain, light buzzing of security camera, officer footsteps. Before making entry, officers conducted a rapid perimeter check. Their flashlights cut through the darkness, scanning windows, fire escapes, and alleyways. The building's security cameras, often more deterrent than defense, provided grainy, monochromatic views. Officer Chen reviewed the lobby footage on a portable device, hoping for a glimpse of an intruder. Nothing. Just the distorted, shifting shadows cast by the storm and the flickering streetlights. Every dark corner, every obscure doorway, held the potential for a hidden threat. The silence inside felt even heavier, a stark contrast to the storm outside. Sound, distant suspense music, officers communicating quietly, door creaking, footsteps, with no clear sign of a perpetrator, but an urgent 911 call indicating immediate danger. Officers made the difficult decision to force entry.
Police!
Open up, shouted Officer Markowski, his voice cutting through the building's quiet hum.
Receiving no response, they prepared.
A quick, decisive breach. The door gave way with a jarring thud.
Bodycams now rolling, they entered the darkened apartment, weapons drawn, flashlights sweeping.
The air was cool, stale. A faint scent of old coffee and something else, something metallic, almost ozone-like, hung in the air. Each step was measured, cautious.
Sound, tense music, distant rain, officers' low voices, room by room, the officers cleared the apartment. Kitchen. Living room. Bathroom. Bedroom. Each space was empty. No sign of Sarah Miller. No sign of an intruder.
The apartment was meticulously neat, almost undisturbed, save for the forced entry.
It presented a perplexing scene.
The 911 call, filled with such desperate urgency, now seemed to hang in the air, a phantom alarm in an empty space.
Where was she? And if no one was here, who had she been whispering about? A chilling question began to form in Markowski's mind. Was this a missing person, a false alarm, or something far more sinister?
Sound, subtle creaking, rain outside, investigators talking quietly. Despite the initial appearance of an undisturbed apartment, a closer inspection began to reveal subtle anomalies.
A window latch, slightly bent. A floorboard near the entrance, just barely scuffed. Forensic technicians, now unseen, moved methodically, dusting for prints, scrutinizing every surface.
These weren't overt signs of a struggle, but rather minute indications that something had occurred. Something that tried to remain hidden. The absence of a person, coupled with these faint traces, deepened the mystery. It wasn't just empty, it felt wrong. As if a story had just concluded, leaving only ghosts. Sound, phone static, rain, suspenseful music, and then, a crucial discovery. On the kitchen counter, half hidden by a fruit bowl, lay Sarah Miller's cell phone. The screen was dark, but the call log showed a recent outgoing call, to 911.
The timeline was precise.
She had been here, made the call, and then vanished.
But why leave her lifeline? Why not take it, if she was fleeing? The abandoned phone posed more questions than answers.
It suggested a sudden, unexpected departure, or perhaps, a deliberate act.
Was it dropped in a struggle, or placed there to be found? The device, a silent witness, held secrets. Sound, rain, distant sirens, radio chatter, low suspense music. As dawn approached, the investigation escalated. Detectives were brought in, their methodical minds seeking patterns, motives.
A grid search of the immediate area began.
K-9 units were deployed, their handlers guiding them through the rain-soaked alleys and overgrown shrubbery surrounding the building.
Every dumpster, every dark corner, was meticulously checked. But the night had been wet, washing away potential scent trails, obscuring footprints. The elements were conspiring against them, adding another layer to an already complex and unsettling mystery. Sarah Miller was gone, leaving only a whispering echo. Sound, muted office sounds, keyboard clicks, rain outside. While the physical search continued, detectives began digging into Sarah Miller's life. Was she truly an ordinary woman, or did she have secrets? Friends, family, co-workers were contacted. Initial interviews painted a picture of a quiet, somewhat reclusive individual.
No known enemies. No history of serious relationships or conflicts.
Yet, the 911 call suggested a very real, very personal threat.
This discrepancy was unsettling. Could someone have targeted her without her knowledge? Or was there a part of Sarah Miller's life that remained hidden, even from those closest to her?
Sound, door knocking, rain, muffled voices. The relentless door-to-door canvass yielded little. Most residents had been asleep, oblivious to the drama unfolding hours earlier. A few reported hearing the sirens, but nothing more specific.
The building's tight-knit community, if it existed, was silent. No one saw anything. No one heard anything. It was as if the entire incident had been swallowed by the storm and the urban anonymity.
Detectives faced a wall of silence, a stark reality in city investigations where privacy often triumphs over observation. The lack of witnesses was frustrating, allowing the mystery to deepen. Sound, 911 audio playback, rain, quiet hum of dispatch center. Back at the dispatch center, the operator who took Sarah Miller's call replayed the audio, over and over.
The whispering. The frantic tone.
Yet, something felt off. It was almost too perfect, too staged. He listened for background noise, for any deviation.
The rain was clear.
But what else?
A faint, almost imperceptible metallic click, obscured by static. He isolated the segment, enhanced the audio.
It was barely there, a ghost of a sound.
Was it the clang of an elevator? A door locking? Or something else entirely?
His gut feeling, honed by years of emergency calls, screamed caution.
Sound, enhanced audio, faint metallic click, breathing, whispers. The enhanced audio revealed more than just a metallic click. Beneath Sarah Miller's terrified whispers, a new layer emerged.
Not the random ambient noise of an apartment, but a deliberate, rhythmic breathing. And then, another sound, almost like a muffled, low voice, quickly suppressed.
This wasn't the sound of someone trying to hide from an intruder.
It sounded like someone trying to hide with another person, or perhaps, trying to keep another person quiet. The dispatcher's dread intensified.
The victim narrative was crumbling, replaced by a more complex, unsettling scenario. Sound, rain, hushed voices, door closing. Days into the investigation, a breakthrough.
A neighbor, an elderly woman named Mrs. Henderson, finally came forward.
She'd been reluctant, fearing involvement.
But something she'd seen nagged at her. Around the time of the 911 call, she'd woken briefly. Not by noise, but by a flicker of light from the fire escape outside her window.
A flashlight. And then, a silhouette.
Not just one, but two figures, moving stealthily.
They were descending, not ascending.
Her fear of being caught had kept her quiet. But now, her account drastically shifted the direction of the investigation. Sound, intense, fast-paced investigation music, radio chatter. The puzzle pieces began to align, forming a far more sinister picture.
Sarah Miller's apartment was on the top floor.
If two figures were descending the fire escape, it meant they had been above her apartment, or somehow entered from the roof. This contradicted the intruder in the building narrative. Combined with the hidden audio details, the muffled voice, the rhythmic breathing, a new theory emerged.
Sarah Miller wasn't a victim hiding from an intruder.
She was hiding with someone, or perhaps, attempting to infiltrate another apartment from above. Sound, tense music, rain, rustling. A further search, this time focusing on the roof and fire escape, yielded a disturbing discovery. Tucked beneath an air conditioning unit on the rooftop, investigators found a small, custom-made lockpicking kit. Nearby, a fresh pry mark on the access door to the adjacent apartment's attic space. This wasn't the work of a panicked victim. This was the equipment of a skilled, deliberate intruder. And it wasn't Sarah Miller's apartment that had been targeted. It was her neighbor's. The implications were chilling.
Sarah wasn't calling for help for herself.
She was calling to frame someone, or to divert attention. Sound, dramatic reveal music, heightened suspense. The truth, when it finally surfaced, was far more disturbing than a simple home invasion. Sarah Miller wasn't the terrified victim hiding from a stalker, she was the stalker. Her 911 call was a desperate, panicked attempt to create a false narrative, to portray herself as the victim after her own illicit activities had gone awry. She had been attempting to break into her neighbor's apartment from the roof, perhaps to steal something, or to gain access for a more sinister purpose, when she was either interrupted, or perhaps, caught. The whispered call, meant to sound like fear, was actually a frantic attempt to avoid detection by her intended victim in the adjacent apartment, or the person she was with. Sound, chilling drone music, rain fading to silence. Sarah Miller was never found. She vanished into the rainy night, leaving behind a tangled web of deception. The 911 dispatcher, forever haunted by the whisper, later reflected on the chilling realization. The terror he felt wasn't for a woman in distress, but for the chilling ingenuity of a predator. The call wasn't a desperate plea from the hunted, but a cunning maneuver from the hunter. It revealed the dark lengths some will go to manipulate the truth, turning victim into villain. And in the quiet aftermath, only the memory of a whisper remained, a terrifying testament to a lie that almost worked, and a truth that still chills to the bone.